The Squarebody here has losing brake fluid, and every month or so I'll have to top it up. I walked out this morning and, well, crap, that's not good. Whatever was leaking before has now finally gave out. That. Definitely got to get that fixed. So that's what we're doing today on Burnouts and Rotor Blades.
Welcome to the Burnouts and Rotor Blades YouTube channel. Let's go do something awesome.
We can start by getting the tires off and the axle out. These one-ton trucks have a full floating axle where the axle shaft must be removed before the brake drum can come off. Because my house is still being remodeled after the flood, I have to drive a half hour to my dad's shop where my tools are being stored.
Now we take the axle out. Ooh, that is toasty.
So I get the pleasure of repairing things fresh off the road like you professional mechanics. This circlip holds in this square keyway.
I went back through and marked it at the top, and now I have a magnet to pop it out.
This square keyway secures the axle nut, which you can remove with just a couple of whacks if you don't have the specialty tool, but you will need that for the reinstallation. Then we can gently remove the brake drum.
Oh, Jesus, that's hot. Should not have driven it for a half hour before I got here. This would probably go way easier if I just loosened up the brakes. Whew, almost lost my cool there for a second. Now, whenever we're cleaning this off, we want to make sure, that we're careful to not cause too big of a mess and that we don't overdo it on the brake clean. You just want to be really careful and pinpoint exactly where you need it to be so you don't, waste it.
All right, I think that's enough of that.
I thoroughly believe whenever you have something apart like this, go ahead and take a picture of it with your cell phone. Heck, take a little bit of video. Just kind of move your camera around real slow and remember that you're going to be looking at it later going, how did they go back together again? I don't remember. And for those of you that can't remember how it went back together, this is for you. Oh, there's so much meat left on these. They're in really good shape. And then the same as up here, they're in really good shape, but they're probably soaked by all that brake fluid. Let's see, are they cracked up? Yeah, they got a little heat on them too. Now the reason I knew it was leaking, because on the back side of the tire, see how it's wet right there in that spot? On that spot too. This was just pouring down from the axle, down the tire. Just imagine that we're looking up at it from the ground. It was just pouring down the tire, and then wherever I parked it, it was just leaking out. And then also, I lost brake pressure. Let's get all this e-brake back bracketry off. And we'll take these off and we'll get to the meat and potatoes. Put these off. Next. All right, so that one's down now. There's pliers made specifically to do that job, and I'm just too cheap to get them. Now we have access to the wheel cylinder, and we can take all the stuff off the back to get to it. Come on. Oh, come on now. You just get in your home. Oh. And that guy's off. Let's go stack it up next to the new one. So there's the one we pulled off. So we got AutoZone number 33708. Put these two here. They look about the same. The holes look like they line up. They look the same width. Looks to be the same size. So let's go pop that one in. After you get the new wheel cylinder in, torque down those two bolts in the back, put the line in, all that stuff. Let's go ahead and thread this thing into the brand new one, just so I can be super pissed later whenever I have to take it back out. Cross-threaded or torque to spec, tight is tight. The wheel cylinder's on. Also, it's time that we got to what happens when you trust the parts guy that says, no, I'm pretty sure these are the right one, because they're not. All right, I went back to the parts store and I got the right ones this time. And in case you're curious what the part number was, O'Reilly's part number for that. And the difference, this is a 3.5 inch, and then the other one that I got that was the wrong one was a 2.5 inch, 2.57. So I don't know how to tell which one you're gonna have. I just know that those are the two, and this one ended up being the right one for me. Also, one thing I want to point out is, like, so that was in the center, and then those two came from, you know, the sides of this That is a loud chicken. And I like to lay my stuff out kind of in the order that it came out of the vehicle, and at least in an order that makes sense to me. So, and then there's all that stuff that dropped in there, so I won't remember how that goes in. Best of luck, fingers crossed. So we got this hole right here. That e-brake has to go through there. Now, I read a bunch of places where people said they had to ream this out to get it to go through. Mine seems to go through pretty easy. Then we put this little snap ring keeper in there. And now it's on. This assembly goes with the little keeper here, and then this top hat one. It goes right into this. And like I said, there's some tools that are specifically for this. I don't have those tools, so I gotta do it the hard way. When it's in there, it's gonna look something like that, where it comes through one way, and then you twist it, and now it settles down in those shoulders. So this is your brake adjuster, and to do yourself some favors, you should suck this all the way in, both when you're taking it off and when you're putting it back on. And in order to get to it, there's this window back here behind it. You slide your screwdriver through and you use it to engage these and flick those. Whenever the e-brake does pop, it actually pulls this down, and that's tightening. So when it pulls down to tighten, you need to push up in the back or push down in the back to loosen it. So you're trying to rotate it the other direction. It is reverse thread, so it's a little weird. And then whenever we go to adjust these brakes out, we'll remember that we got to push up from the back so it spreads out, not down. Down is to loosen, up is to tighten. Nice and gentle. Find the hole.
Weird when the brakes are all the way in. It's weird.
That axle is not set right. Bam. It's like it was made to go on there or something.
Unbelievable.
Unfreaking believable. I went and got this tool right here. It's from O'Reilly's CRVW83009. That, if you have this one right here that has the half moons in it, it just, like it's made to go there. I did mark my paint spot right here, which should go back on the top. My paint mark is already right up there.
You know what, you're not gonna have to make your bearing safe. There you go.
So my mark here went past where that keyway is, so I'm gonna come back one notch. Now we got the paint mark right over that when it's all squared up. This guy right here. Drop it in. And then this flimsy little keyway holds it. The part that's folded down right here is going to be the part that holds that into here. And this is just sitting inside of the threads. So I'm just going to push this one all the way back up against it. Ow. Woo! Distance. And then I can take right here and make sure it's all the way in. It's all seated. There. Now, in theory, this should spin and not move too much. And there we go. So I stuck my screwdriver through this hole right here, and this drum moves really easy, and you're listening for the clicks. And if you can hear those clicks, you're adjusting it the right direction. Every time you make an adjustment, wiggle the drum. And as soon as you hear some resistance, right there. Oop. Almost got myself.
There's Brian.
Oh,
Good shot of your ear.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Appreciate that. Everybody wants to see that. Every day I'm shuffling.
Before sliding the axle back in, it's recommended that you add some gear oil to the hub.
All right then, I guess I'm gonna do it this way.
We also went through and torqued all of the axle bolts and lug nuts before putting it to a test. And the test was hauling this giant screener across town
Is your diff lock in?
on these untested brakes.
Oh yeah, you got it.
She's all strapped down, ready to go. Time to put the dually to the test.
Don't forget to subscribe if you like the content and want to see more like it. And as always, thanks for watching.